Probe team narrows down on MH17 culprits. Tian Chua convicted of sedition. I'm Natasha Hussain and this is Cuppa News. Just as 5 of our boatmen are pleading for help for their release after being kidnapped by Abu Sayyaf, a fishing boat captain was taken hostage in Sempurna waters in Sabah on Tuesday night. 6 men armed with M16 and M14 rifles came by speedboat at 9:50 p.m. and robbed handphones and documents of 27 crew members on board before abducting the 39-year-old captain, Ruslan Nasir Sarapin. The armed men then attacked another fishing boat off Lahad Datu, seizing 2 75-horsepower outboard engines, food, money and handphones from the 19 crew members. Sabah's maritime authorities have yet to determine where Ruslan has been taken to, but it's likely he could end up in southern Philippines, together with other captives snatched in Sabah waters in recent months. On Wednesday, Muhammad Rizwan Ismail pleaded to the Malaysian government and his employer to help secure the release of the 5 of them. Their kidnappers under the Abu Sayyaf network demand a ransom of 100 million Philippine pesos, or 8.5 million ringgit. But the 5 who were abducted from their boat off Lahad Datu on July 19th cannot afford the huge sum. Meanwhile, Deputy Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Nur Rashid Ibrahim said the Malaysian and Philippine governments are negotiating for their release.
Walaupun kita tahu ada hutan dan sebagainya, kita tak beri tanggungjawab kita untuk seboleh yang mungkin kita nak bawa balik orang itu dengan selamat.
Over 2 years following the crash of MH17 in rebel-held eastern Ukraine in July 2014, we still don't know who downed the ill-fated jet. Today, investigators unveiled their first criminal investigation report on the tragedy, further pointing the finger at pro-Russian rebels, but stopped short of stating who pushed the button to fire the Buk missile. The joint investigation team released details of the location of the Buk missile system that took down the plane and where the missile came from. The report said the missile was launched from Pervomaisky village in eastern Ukraine. The missile was transported from Russian territory into Ukraine before being sent to a farmland in the village where the missile was fired at MH17 on July 17th. It was smuggled back to the Russian-Ukrainian border the next day. Although the perpetrator has yet to be identified, the report has nevertheless narrowed it down to about 100 people. On Monday, the Russian Defense Ministry said data picked up by its civilian radar on the day of the MH17 crash shows no sign of a missile being fired at the plane from territories controlled by opposition forces. During a 3-day visit to Berlin, Prime Minister Datuk Sri Najib Tun Razak was asked about the US probe of misappropriation of funds from 1MDB and possible early polls due to the 1MDB saga. And he said Malaysia is equally concerned about the rule of law and the question of election is not decided by a single factor.
So within the bounds of good governance and rule of law, Malaysia will do its best to cooperate and to do whatever is necessary. Secondly, the question of elections is not due to any single factor. It must be predicated on the basis that we have good policies in Malaysia.
Najib had a bilateral meeting with German Chancellor Angela Merkel to discuss trade and investment issues, terrorism and the Syrian refugee problem. Meanwhile, Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia Interim President Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin told Reuters that Malaysia is burdened by problems in 1MDB and he believes most voters think the time is right for a change of government. He said if the opposition could form a new coalition earlier, it would shake up Barisan Nasional in facing GE14.
So as a matter of strategy, if we can come out now that we can agree to this, what I proposed earlier, this sort of understanding or pact, it will shake them.
How soon does this pact be achieved?
I would want to see it happening sooner than later. Before year end, or within the next months ahead before the year end, or even before we can conclude the grand coalition.
Pribumi Chairman Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad has said that Muhyiddin would likely be the Prime Minister if the opposition wins in GE14. However, component parties from the Pakatan Harapan opposition front said Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim would still be the first choice to lead the opposition. Pakatan Harapan Chief Secretary Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah on Wednesday gave the drama a twist, saying that their candidate is Anwar, and if the jailed leader is prevented from doing so, there can be an interim Prime Minister. Saifuddin said despite talks of who will be the Prime Minister, it is better to focus on building a bigger opposition coalition first. PKR Vice President Tian Chua has been sentenced to 3 months jail and fined 1,800 ringgit for uttering seditious words at a May 13th forum following GE13 3 years ago. Despite the sentence, he gets to keep his Batu MP seat.
Kerana dendanya adalah kurang daripada RM2,000 dan juga penjaranya adalah kurang daripada 1 tahun. Kalau melebihi, maka menurut pasal 48 Perlembagaan Persekutuan baru beliau disqualified.
In his speech at the forum at the Kuala Lumpur Chinese Assembly Hall, Tian Chua used words like bangkit and turun ke jalan. On Wednesday, KL Sessions Court Judge Zulkarnain Hassan ruled that Tian Chua's words had a tendency to commit sedition by way of toppling a democratically elected government. The judge allowed a stay of execution pending an appeal. 5 others, including Hishamuddin Rais, had also been charged for sedition at the forum. All of them pleaded not guilty, with their trials conducted separately. 2 days after the gruesome discovery of the bodies of 2 dead children and their father at Nova 2 apartment in Segambut, Kuala Lumpur, police today revealed their investigations showed a downward spiral of destruction, with drug and physical abuse taking center stage.
Suami dia tak benarkan dia masuk dalam bilik kedua. Bilik kedua ni sentiasa kunci. Living or dead, we don't know. As for the baby, 7 months baby, according to the wife, this fellow is sometimes he'll take the baby and just throw the baby down. Wife dia kata on Saturday dia minum arak yang murah punya lah, and the next day this fellow already dead. Dia kata he also don't know what to do. She go and clean this fellow up.
The mother of 7-month-old Chia Kai Wen and his 3-year-old sister Chia Kai Ze, who were found stuffed in large plastic containers, is remanded for investigations. In Kuala Nurus, Deputy Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Nur Rashid Ibrahim said police had opened 3 investigation papers to look into a case whereby a naked woman was assaulted by another woman armed with a glass bottle. In the case classified as an act to cause hurt and criminal intimidation, the police are waiting for a detailed report from doctors to see if there is any internal injuries to the victim. The assailant has gone into hiding. It is believed that the victim had slept with the assailant's husband. In Butterworth, authorities of a school stumbled upon a bag that contained a newborn baby girl at a bus stop in Bagan Ajam at about 8 a.m. on Wednesday. The baby was then brought to a clinic before being handed over to the police. She is reported to be in healthy condition at the Seberang Jaya Hospital. Gerald Lee's filming for the grand final of the Sing China competition in Beijing on October 7th continued at her alma mater. Dressed in a white short skirt, the Penangite went back to the Changling Private High School in her hometown to meet her former schoolmates and teachers who gave her a warm reception. She also rendered 2 songs, namely Fight Song and Xin Yao Dujong, for her fans. At only 16, she is the youngest contestant and has won over the hearts of many fans home and abroad. Formula One runaway leaders Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton are in Malaysia for another grueling battle to the finish. Mohsin Dadamia has the story.
Hi, we're now here at Gallery Petronas with 6 more races remaining in the Formula One World Championship. The rivalry in Team Mercedes remains stands. Well, both driver Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton, they are fighting neck to neck for the world title, and this is what they had to say about it.
It's always a great battle against him, you know, he's one of the best out there, he always puts the bar very high, he's the guy to beat, he's the world champion, so it's exciting, and I definitely enjoy when I'm able to beat him sometimes, that's cool, and I'll try to do it again now this weekend.
6 races to go, and I've been a lot further behind before, so, but Nico's driving fantastic well right now, and I've just got to make sure that I drive better.
For me, important is to win the Malaysian Grand Prix. and to win the Constructors' Championship here, to win the team championship, you know, because we have the opportunity to become three times world champions.
I don't know, I've not calculated what needs to be done in order to win it. I just generally take it one race at a time. Ultimately, I need to be winning races to get back ahead in the championships.
Rosberg has won 8 of 15 races with 273 points, leading the driver's standing, while Hamilton has his 10-point lead turned into an 8-point deficit behind Rosberg after his rival scorched to win in Singapore. The only time Mercedes failed to win this year was in Spain when both drivers took each other off in the opening lap. The intense rivalry went up a notch when both drivers said they were gutted by what happened.
When I stopped, I was just so gutted because there's 1,300 people that work for this car, and
I'm especially, gutted for all my fellow colleagues who work so hard for us, to win races and then take each other out like that.
They also traded punches in Austria and Canada and put the blame on one another for the incidents.
From the track to the pitch. After one match and 67 days in charge, Sam Allardyce was sacked as England manager after a newspaper sting showed him offering advice to undercover reporters on how to circumvent official player transfer regulations and profit from it.
There's no criticism of Sam's performance. I think he did a cracking job as England manager. The reality was, after the revelations of yesterday and today, his position was untenable. We discussed that. He admitted some of the things he said were foolish. I won't prejudge any of the allegations because that would be inappropriate, but some of the things he said were foolish, and we jointly decided it was time for him to move on.
The 61-year-old is alleged to have used his role as England boss to negotiate a deal worth £400,000 to represent an Asian firm. Following Allardyce's departure, England under-21 manager Gareth Southgate will take charge of the team for the next 4 games on an interim basis. Typhoon Maggie made landfall in eastern China on Wednesday, bringing heavy rain which flooded streets, the day after causing widespread damage in Taiwan, killing 4 and injuring 260. As Taiwan grappled with cleanup work today, Maggie weakened to a tropical storm. No injuries were reported in China, but 330,000 homes were affected by power cuts. Former Israeli Prime Minister and President Shimon Peres has passed away at age 93 after suffering a stroke 2 years ago. The Nobel Peace Prize winner, who was one of the last generation of Israeli politicians present at the nation's birth in 1948, served twice as PM and once as president. Not so surprising, but there's more drama with the Kardashians. Rob Kardashian tweeted out half-sibling Kylie Jenner's phone number on Monday night, not once, but twice to his 6.6 million followers. He had flown into a rage over a baby shower, alleging on Twitter that baby mama Blac Chyna wasn't invited. After thousands of fans started harassing Jenner, trying to FaceTime her, asking her for tuition money, lip kits, and Yeezys, she privately reacted to the antics by changing her phone number. A US wedding film company has released footage of the moment Tom Hanks photobombed a Central Park wedding photo shoot in New York last weekend.
Look at that right here. What's your name? Elizabeth. My daughter's name. What's your name? Brian. Oh, Brian, you're a lucky man.
The accidental meeting had gone viral after Hanks posted up photos on Twitter and Instagram. I guess life is really like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. That's all from the Cuppa News team. Have an awesome night.